ABC 7 News I-Team has uncovered a disturbing fact. 2013 was a record year for suicides from the Golden Gate Bridge.
Still, a suicide prevention barrier is stuck in bureaucratic red tape and has been for years. Dan Noyes is here with an I-Team investigation, Dan.
Well, Dan and Amma, we in the media sometimes hesitate to report on the issue of suicide for fear of inspiring copycats. But mental health professionals tell us this is important. A suicide barrier on the bridge can help prevent these deaths. The numbers are not exact and it's hard to imagine, but as many as 2,000 people have died at the Golden Gate since it was built. Kim and Manuel Gamboa invited us to walk the Golden Gate Bridge with them. Not to take in the view like so many tourists that day, but to remember their 18-year-old son Kyle, who died here last September.
He was energetic, vibrant, popular.
The Gamboas drive from the Sacramento area twice a month to attend the Bridge District Board meetings to push for a suicide prevention barrier.
Time is of the essence. For every day, every week, and every month, more people die by jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge.
The board members actually approved the suicide barrier in 2008, a steel net that will hang about 20 feet below the sidewalk. But they have refused to fund the project.
To be quibbling and dithering around what agency is going to provide what proportion of the money, I find that very, very upsetting.
State Assembly member Tom Ammiano has been pushing for the suicide barrier for more than 20 years. He tells me the Bridge District, the Metropolitan Transportation Commission, and Caltrans can't agree on the amount each will pay for the $66 million project.
If we had had the deterrent years ago, those lives would have been saved.
So it's a funding issue.
So it is a funding issue.
We took Ammiano's concerns to Golden Gate Bridge District General Manager Dennis Mulligan.
Is it, as Ammiano described, just a matter of quibbling between the partners of who's going to pay what share?
Right now we're having lots of conversations with lots of funding agencies, and we're trying to see if we can finalize the conversations to put together a full funding plan.
The families of those who've died are upset that the bridge will be installing a $26 million movable barrier to prevent head-on collisions by the end of the year. One person has been killed in a head-on crash on the Golden Gate in the past 15 years. There were 4 other non-fatal head-on collisions.
Why install the movable barrier when you have many more people dying because of a lack of a suicide barrier?
We were very fortunate that we were able to get outside funding for the movable median barrier.
The district's latest numbers show a record 46 confirmed suicides in 2013, 10 in the month of August alone.
There's no indication that the number is going to decrease in any significant way.
John Bateson is a longtime suicide hotline counselor and author of a book about the bridge's deadly history. He says more people die from suicide on the Golden Gate than any other structure in the world, about 1 death every 10 days.
If you stop and think about it, if there were 2 or 3 deaths every month from cable car accidents in the city, or if a fan fell to their death from AT&T Park every 10 days, the problem would be fixed immediately. I mean, public pressure would demand it.
These are the faces behind the numbers.
Kathy was bright, sensitive. She was an artist.
They come from all walks of life.
My son, Michael, was one of the sweetest sons you could ever ask for.
Established businessmen.
Todd really enjoyed people. He really enjoyed getting to know all different people.
Young people who showed so much promise.
Gabby was highly creative, very, very sensitive, and very given with animals and people. She always put all the people in front of herself.
Everyone in this group lost someone on the Golden Gate Bridge. Most died after the board approved the net.
December 15th, 2011.
August 3rd, 2009.
November 22nd, 2010.
August 29th, 2013.
These family members shared their stories with us, their private pain, in hopes of spurring the bureaucrats to finally get it done.
They'll say, well, why should we spend $50 or $60 million for a suicide barrier? They'll just go somewhere else. And that's not true. There's no evidence to support that.
We know in suicide prevention that limiting access to lethal means prevents suicide, and the Golden Gate Bridge is a lethal means. And for many of us in the Bay Area, it's like having a gun in your backyard.
The Bridge General Manager's office has an incredible view, and he has seen firsthand how urgent this issue is.
From your office, have you ever seen someone jump?
Next question.
It took him a minute to finally answer.
I've worked at the bridge a long time, so unfortunately I have witnessed people take their lives here at the bridge.
Does that affect in any way the decisions you make or your push for the suicide barrier? Do you personally favor the suicide barrier?
I value every human life.
No firm answers why the number of suicides was up last year. The author believes it's because the Bridge District removed the toll takers, so drivers have no easy way to report someone on the bridge. But the district argues that's not the case, that most of the tips come in by drivers on cell phones. The district also tells us they prevented 118 people from jumping off the bridge last year. That's also a record.